I'm standing in the Lego house with Joel. Good to see you.
Hi, how you doing?
I'm fine because I'm here and I met you and we talk about awesome Lego Movie 2 stuff, which is special. So what will we see in a minute?
So these are some of the models that have been developed for the movie, but a lot of these were cut from the film or they were early versions of something that later is in the film.
So let's dive into it. We start here. This is not released, of course.
This is a very early version of what became Sweet Mayhem Starship, or the Formidable. And at this point in the story, the script had the child as being really young, and this was more the perception of the minifigures, what they see when she's coming to take them. Right, so this wasn't necessarily something that she built. But as we know, most of the characters and vehicles in Emmett's world are things that the boy in the movie has built. So we actually had to rethink that and go back and change, because it should be something that the sister is building, and at this point in the story also it changed so that she's older when she comes to take them.
Okay, then we have the second one, which is more like, I would say, made of a girl, and this is called Sweet Mayhem's Side Star Starship.
Yeah, so this is about halfway through the development, and you can see already it's kind of taking the shape where it's a lot more shrunken down. It has the wings, and you can already see with the top fin, it's a little bit of a cousin of the final model. Whereas then on top here, you can see it's still more representative of a head than that one.
Yeah, right here we see the other one, so the other two versions of this idea actually, which became a set.
Yep, so these were sort of middle, early on development versions where it was still meant to represent the sister's sort of face, or maybe she had built her own face. You can see so that was still early development.
But I mean, those would have been really big sets.
They would have been absolutely massive, yeah. And in this case, maybe it wouldn't have necessarily been a set, or maybe this was something where we wouldn't have been able to make it one-to-one to what you saw in the movie. But because we wanted the things you see in the movie to feel very authentic, we try to develop them all just like the set, so there's not very many where we change the scale.
Yeah.
So you can see here we change it more to a scale that we feel like represent the toy and is much more possible to make as a toy, and much more like something that a girl would build, if she was into space and enjoyed that.
I like this new blue-green-kada, which is back, so teal is back.
Yes.
And this, I would say, is very close to the final version. I haven't built it, but I've built the big one, the Berg set. But this is pretty much the same. Not exactly, but it's close to the final product.
Yeah, I believe this here on the right, in the screen right now, is the final version.
Yeah, this one, right?
The one to the left of it was where we still hadn't decided on her main color scheme at this stage. So at that point, we have more silver involved, and we're trying to go with a more sparkly and lots of detail. And it's hard to see, but on the papers, you can see that it wasn't necessarily as clean lines. Like maybe there was decorations all over it. So it started with clean lines, and then you have a lot of stripes and things sort of added on, as though she'd added her own stickers to the ship.
So this is kind of a prototype then, because this arc piece didn't exist as gray.
Correct, yeah. So many elements you see here are spray painted. Some of them we've just taken a Sharpie or some marker to, so you can see maybe some of the magenta colors. You can see that the paint is not an exact match in this lighting, even.
Of course. And which is interesting here, we see one of the main characters of the movie. So we see there is a lot of process going on, and on the right side we see the final version, and it started with a pink or something.
Yeah, so here we have Sweet Mayhem, and from left to right is how the development went over time. And you can see on the left we were reusing a hairpiece that we've seen before to create the shapes in her helmet. And she's a little more menacing, scary there, but I think she still kept the sort of menacing aspect, sort of an archetype of some villains that you see in film.
And the magical star, which we see in the movie, which Emmett loves so much, there have been different sizes too.
Yeah, many different sizes, and a lot of discussion around how the animators would be able to use the face on the elements. So then you see in the final film, we didn't match it exactly because the element in the film doesn't have the stud. So it ended up that the animators wanted to use that so that they could give it a lot more surface area to put expression on.
And with the ABC here, which isn't part of the movie, am I right?
This shows up in the movie a very tiny bit. You can find it on Sweet Mayhem Starship, as well as the pop-up party bus.
Ah, all right.
But yeah, for the most part, pretty hidden and pretty minimal. But it was developed by Nick Voss, who also worked on Ninjago and helped develop the Ninjargon language.
Yeah. So special language here, secret Lego language, which you talk here in Billund. And we have some mechs here.
So this comes from when the story had some scenes that were changed quite a bit. So here we have Rex and Unikitty and Benny in their Rex outfits. So they're all going down to the planet's surface in their hardcore, more mature gear, and they're all going to be gruff and tough. But as you know, that changed in the story. But we're also really happy that we get to let you see this side of the development, because we think these are really fun characters, and it would have been awesome to have these as sets as well. But of course, it wouldn't make sense without them being in the movie.
So unfortunately, you cannot buy those mechs, but what we can buy is a version of Rex ship, which is out there, and we see many different prototypes here. So which one was the first one? There we see the hand.
Yeah, so I believe this is quite close to final. Yeah. You know, it shares a lot of similarities. You can see the sort of grooves representing the fingers. And then the top version that you're looking at there takes a lot of reference from like a police battering ram or something that would be able to collide with something and be okay. So whether it was smashing into an asteroid or, you know, spoiler, but the sisters models maybe, right? So
we'll put a spoiler alert in front of the video.
yeah, I guess that sounds wise.
But it's interesting because normally, I talked to the Lego Star Wars team a few times, they will get a stretch or an image of the upcoming movie. But this is a Lego movie too, so you know how the final version will look in the movie. So it was like, when you tell us about the process. I mean, those are different versions of it, but in the movie you see the final one.
So for something like Star Wars or Harry Potter, they're being given the reference and trying to match that as close as possible, and sometimes they'll get updates to the reference. Yeah. Whereas with this, we were helping make the reference. So we would go back and forth with the concept artists, and it was between Animal Logic and Warner Brothers and us, and we're all working together, making sure we're designing with the animators in mind, with what's going to look good on screen. And I think downstairs we can see different versions of Battle Caddy, where it actually turned out she was too big to be on screen next to the characters. She sort of dwarfed them too much.
This is interesting because this sounds like an amazing job, because now maybe one of your ideas, of your colleagues, is in the movie. We helped out a lot with the concept art. We helped out a lot with, and sometimes some of us were drawing, and whether it was for new elements or concept art for what different scenes could look like. And I think you'll be able to see that downstairs more, but with some of the scenes, like the alien jungle, we really kind of help develop those from scratch. You know, like because we have the story and we kind of understand what the needs are for the story in that part, and then we help build, like, okay, well, what if it looks like this, and then show them several ideas. They kind of like, well, we were thinking more like this, and they come back, and you know, so then there becomes a great discussion around it, and those discussions help generate tons of ideas. And there was, in first place, any pod racing thing going on in the Lego movie too?
I think these are just particularly sleek, sort of racing-looking vehicles, but they're meant to be part of the group of vehicles that goes out to help stave off the Duplo invasion. Yeah. Yeah, we had several of these kind of referencing some of the hardcore type movies, you know, some of the, you know, not for children, a more gritty, more mature setting.
So Mad Max stuff. We look here at the other cars, and then we talk about the Minifigs and the last models we can see here. There are other versions which which are quite fine. I think this is the final one, right? On the right.
Yeah, I believe that is. And so on the left, you see more. It's built up from other things that might be laying around, trying to have it look like there's certain elements, whether it's a trash can or the hood of a Batmobile, that have sort of been abandoned, and then they scooped them up to help make the vehicle. And then the gray one was a digital build that Animal Logic sent to us, and then we sort of did our spin on it and looped that back and forth over time and landed on what you see as a product and what you see on the screen.
So before we talk about this one, we have to talk about this one. We talk about the other models we see here. And okay, we have some more minifigs, which we can show for a second, where you can see like, yeah, with the recolors at Wild Style's head, for example.
Right, so you're looking at some 3D printed elements. So these are ideas, and you can even see on Wild Style's hood, there's different textures. Like maybe it's a little more wind blown with more ruffles and wrinkles, or is it smoother? And then also, we need to accommodate for, like, will there be decoration on it, or meaning will we be able to print on it in any place?
And some readers of Zusammengebaut will be really sad right now, because we will show something which won't be out there. This won't be a set, because we see Benny's battle buggy.
Benny's battle buggy, yep.
What happened?
I think a few tears were shed when this was decided to not be in the film anymore.
But this seems to be a final version, right?
It's close to it. I think this at this stage is still a concept model, but we were very excited to give Benny a apocalyptic space vehicle. I think that was just such a funny mashup of themes.
Again, what happened? Fun. What happened?
Well, it's all part of the story development. And because we were involved so early in the process and able to contribute ideas and have influence, we had to, also accept that some things weren't going to make the cut. And that was part of the process of filmmaking there.
So do you need this anymore, or can I just take it home?
Okay, just take lots of pictures and you can reverse engineer it.
That's the right answer. I have bricks at home. Perfect.
You can get pretty close, I believe.
I think so. Yeah. Leaking some technical pieces, but I will find them. And we have, this is very great here.
So Chainsaw Dave used his broken down VW to change it into a hardcore vehicle, and Nick Voss put in a lot of work on this to make sure that as you roll it, the chainsaw blades were going back and forth. So it was a lot of fun. But again, that's part of the story of what it takes to make a story like this.
But there should be any outtakes, so you know. But I see no chance.
Well, I'm also glad we get to show it, because for all the love that went into it, if we wouldn't have even been able to show it in Lego House, then we wouldn't be able to share it with you.
And this is great, because we will show close-ups, I will take some images, and if you like to build it on your own, just go ahead and you will send the manual instructions to us tomorrow. All right, and this is the Batmobile, kind of. I mean, this looks really great, because we have the classical Batmobile there, and oh goodness, so tell us about this design process.
So Mark Stafford worked on this, so maybe you can see a little bit of his style in there as well, but he included some amazing features. So for example, you can take off the top part and the wheels are hidden elsewhere in the model, so you can pop it off and add the wheels. There's a spike trap to let spike balls for any Duplo invaders chasing it. The drill on the front actually does the counter rotating action all the way back to the large portion of the drill, not just the front, the entire drill rotates. Wow. And that was really pushing the limits of what the brick can actually hold and maintain. Yeah, I think if you look at it from the side now, you might be able to see a teeny bit of sagging in the drill even.
So but, sadly, this isn't part in the movie, so again, no chance.
No chance, not part of the movie. And that's just what we have to live with. Yep.
So again, this all looks very interesting. We see some models, they are not part of the movie, but they're going to be at least 1 or 2 more waves. We've seen some new stuff in the Toy Fair in Nuremberg and in New York City, of course. And thank you so much for showing us all those concept models, and hope to see you again next time.
All right, thank you.
Take care and bye.
See you next time.